Ted Neely and Carl Anderson made a handsome living playing Jesus and Judas, respectively, in the musical Jesus Christ Superstar. They played it in the Norman Jewison film, and they played it in stages all over the world for many, many years. Rex Harrison will always be identified with My Fair Lady. The songs were written especially for him. He protested, said, "I can't sing." And they said, "Don't worry about it. We'll write these in your pitch." And so you basically just have to say them somewhat in pitch. The strategy worked so well that Harrison won basketfuls of awards, including the Oscar for his Professor Henry Higgins. The star of The King and I originally was Gertrude Lawrence. And Yul Brynner was sort of in the credits a little bit below, and then after a while it became Gertrude Lawrence with Yul Brynner, and then it became Gertrude Lawrence and Yul Brynner, and finally it became Yul Brynner starring in Rodgers and Hammerstein's The King and I, and that's the way it remained ever since. I was fortunate to see him do The King on the stage here in Vancouver when he was actually dying of cancer. He was beyond magnificent. He was electric, and he also won the Oscar, and not one but 2 Tonys for the same award many years apart. Ted Neely and Carl Anderson also seemed born to play these 2 great roles in JC Superstar. The vocal demands would be enough to challenge a Pavarotti or a Domingo, and the characterizations call for deep physical and emotional commitments. Think King Lear with music, right, with arias. But somehow they survived months in an Israeli desert making the movie, and 8 shows a week, live on stage in city after city. Now, it was my great pleasure to interview them on my late-night radio show in the late 90s when they came to Vancouver. And in spite of living every night in such otherworldly roles, they were in fact down-to-earth, sweet, real people just trying to do what most of us do, which is get from A to B without crashing into the furniture. They were both humbled by the rare opportunity life had handed them, and they remained curious about everything around them. Ted, who looked spookily like every Renaissance painting of Jesus you've ever seen, was also terribly funny. After we'd completed an hour of live radio conversation, I was walking them to the door. During the news break, I suddenly remembered that I needed a few more tickets to the show, and the publicist got all uppity and whiny and offering cheesy excuses. Ted simply raised his hand and palm in that beatific way and said, ever so sweetly and quietly, "Don't worry, David. I know people." Pickle, it never hurts to know people in high places.